metropolitan area. Deputy Kelleher.
Just to say to the Minister, I welcome the opportunity for you to come in here to the House and just to hear what I have to say. I'll make it brief and to the point, Minister. We need to have ambition and vision for the area, the greater metropolitan area of Cork. We now have a situation where we have the South Link Road, which effectively is at capacity in the context of about 87,000 vehicles using that particular stretch of road every day, coupled with the fact that about 70,000 cars are using the Jack Lynch tunnel every day. And I know you will come back to me and you will point out that you're going to invest a large amount of money in the Dunkettle interchange. Of course, that's not planning for the future, Minister. That is catching up with the present. These issues, are being done because of the demand that is now placed on the actual Dunkettle interchange itself. But what is very clear and very obvious, Minister, we need to have an outer Northern Ring Road, and it needs to be planned. Initial planning was sought for this a number of years ago. However, it was shelved in the context of the downturn. But we're now in a strong upturn, and we do need to put in place solid, coherent plans to address the issue of the imbalance in the city and the Munster region. So we need to have an outer Northern Ring Road from Killydonoghue on north to the Glamorgan bypass, stretching right across the periphery of the northern city, over Kerry Pike and down to Powlavone. And I believe that we should now bring about the plans that were there and enact them quickly to ensure that there's sustainable planning and development put in place that won't diminish the chances of us actually building a Northern Ring Road. And all of this is in the context of the expansion of the city boundary. We're now going to have all of this particular area inside the city limits. So it is quite, I believe, appropriate for us at this particular time for you to use your good office, for you to show that you have imagination, that you have vision, and that you have a capacity to look beyond the local issues of the set-aside Garda stations and plan for real regional development, Minister. Real regional development. Because what we have at the moment is a city and a region that is completely dependent on the tunnel. And if anything happens, if there's a catastrophic accident in the tunnel, if it is closed for a long period of time because of maintenance, or if there was a major infrastructural or structural damage done to the tunnel, and if it was closed for a long period of time, the region would stop. And it would stop for a number of reasons. It is the only major arterial route across the Lee from the north to the south. The Deepwater Port is in the south, the airport is in the south, all the hospitals are in the south, universities are in the south, the Institute of Technologies are in the south, and it is the gateway to the broader southwest region. So we are completely dependent on the tunnel in terms of traversing north-south. So from that point of view, to ensure that we're not dependent on it, that a Northern Ring route would be developed. And I believe that that would stimulate sustainable development over the short and medium term. And if you look at how the city has developed, you will see that primarily all the industrial development is now taking place south of the river. It is almost impossible to get major multinationals or large companies to locate in the IDA centres on the northern side of the river. Kilbarry is a ghost town. There's now barley planted in it again. It is 1 mile from Patrick Street, 1 mile from Patrick Street, and it is growing barley. That's the actual contribution that that particular park is making to development on the north side of the city. So for many reasons, Minister, we do need to have a Northern Ring route, and I implore and urge you to revisit and be imaginative, like in the old days when you had the Lutz plan, the Land Use and Transportation Study, which clearly marked out a vision for the future in terms of planning and sustainable transport. So we do need you, Minister, to step up to the plate and ensure that we revisit the national plan and ensure that the Northern Ring Road is included in this plan.
Ross, 4 minutes.
Thank you very much indeed,
Hello, Eugene.
Councillor. I'd like to thank the Deputy for the opportunity to address this issue in the House today. As the Deputy is aware, the National Development Plan, published earlier this year in conjunction with the National Planning Framework, as part of the Government's Project Ireland 2040, sets out the major investments planned over the next 10 years for transport. The Deputy did it. The question which I got with the Deputy was the need for the need for the Minister to carry out a full assessment of transport needs for the Greater Cork metropolitan area in consultation with both local authorities and Transport Infrastructure Ireland. So the Deputy will forgive me if I answer the question which you put down. As stated in the NTDP, The Cork local authorities, in partnership with both the National Transport Authority and Transport Infrastructure Ireland, are currently finalising a Cork metropolitan area transport strategy. The NDP includes a number of commitments in relation to transport in Cork, and these will be included in the Cork metropolitan area transport strategy. The strategy will contain proposals relating to all modes of transport, including road network improvements, a revised, more extensive and higher capacity bus system, enhancements to the commuter rail system, including additional stations, a future light rail corridor, and a number of bus and rail-based park and ride sites. In relation to roads investment, to which the Deputy did address, the NTB proposes the following major road projects for Cork: the M20, which will link the cities of Cork and Limerick with a high-quality transport corridor; the Cork North Ring Road, to which the Deputy referred, which will be examined as part of the overall planning and design of the M20 scheme; the M28 from Cork to Ringaskiddy; and the N8, N25, N40 Dunkettle interchange upgrade scheme. On the public transport side, the NDP commits to the Cork Bus Connects programme, which will deliver a revised bus network for Cork City. It will comprise the delivery of crucial bus corridors, enhanced services, cashless fares and account-based ticketing. As part of this programme delivery, a network of park and ride sites serviced by the more efficient bus network will be put in place. The Cork Bus Connects programme has enormous potential to radically transform the bus system in Cork, making it much more efficient, reliable and attractive to new passengers. As referenced in the NDP, the Cork Transport Strategy will also provide for the evaluation of a light rail corridor to serve the increased population growth out to 2040, as envisaged by the National Planning Framework. The objective of the Cork Transport Strategy will be to provide a long-term strategic planning framework for the integrated development of transport infrastructure and services in the Cork metropolitan area over the next 2 decades. It will be used to inform transport investment levels and investment prioritisation over the longer and shorter term. It will also be able to inform sustainable integrated land use and transport policy formulation at the strategic level and at the local level. The transport strategy is at an advanced stage in its preparation, and I understand that a draft is expected to progress to public consultation early in 2019. Feedback from the consultation process will then be taken into consideration in the finalisation of the transport strategy for the Cork metropolitan area. The Deputy may also be aware that the Southern Regional Assembly is currently finalising a draft regional spatial and economic strategy for public consultation. Department officials, together with the NTA and TII, have worked closely with the Regional Assembly on the transport elements of the regional strategy. The strategy will include a metropolitan area strategic plan for Cork, as set out in the National Planning Framework.
Kelleher.
Yeah, well, look, Minister, thank you for your reply, but there's a small problem here, Minister, and it is the fact that the National Planning Framework, in that there is a one-line mention of the Northern Ring Road. It does talk about linking Cork to Limerick with the motorway, and we all welcome that. But the fact of the matter is you're going to run a motorway into 19th century roads. We have no proper orbital route on the north side of the city. So for any logical reason, but more importantly, for the greater development of the region itself, and not just Cork North Side itself, but the region itself, it is completely dependent on the tunnel as the only way of moving north-south. As I said previously, all the major infrastructure, ports, deep-water ports, airports are all on the southern side. So for anything to happen in the tunnel, they could have catastrophic consequences for the economic development and continual growth of the area. All your eggs are in the one basket, Minister. And I think to be brave and to be visionary, we need to accept that the North Ring Road, linking the Dublin Road to the Powlavone and Ballincollig, is an essential infrastructural requirement for the greater good of the region and also for the more balanced development of Cork City. And any visit there, Minister, you know the city well, any visit there will show quite clearly that the north side is unable to attract industry because of the lack of access. And it needs to be opened up. So for local and regional balance and ensuring that we don't have continual dependency on the tunnel, I implore on you to ensure that it is included in any assessment of what is required for infrastructural development in the short and medium term. But as it stands, Minister, there is a one-line reference in the national plan to the North Ring Road, A one line. And that is in the context of the M20 coming into Cork City itself.
Margaret and Tara and Craig Nugan,
Well, the Deputy's obviously made a very strong case, but it's, and I'm not questioning his familiarity with it, but let me just say to you that, as you say, the NDP includes a reference to the Cork North Ring Road, and you say it's one line, but it states that the scheme will be examined as part of the overall planning and design for the M20 Cork to Limerick scheme in the context of future linkages that might be complementary. The Cork Metropolitan Area Transport Strategy 2040 is expected to identify the need for and possible timelines around schemes such as the Cork North Ring Road. It's not off the agenda, but as you can see, it's been considered, and there is a reference to it in the NDP, and it says it will be, the scheme will be examined. I'm not sure that you can ask for a lot more than that. You have asked already in your question. Specifically, in fact, it might have been better if you put down the Cork North Ring Road, which is what you actually have concentrated throughout your speech, rather than having called for what you call a full assessment of transport needs for the Greater Cork metropolitan area in consultation with both local authorities and transport infrastructure. As Deputy will probably know, that's already being done. What I'd say to you is this: I think the case you've made is strong. I'm not qualified to actually argue with it on the floor of this House at a minute's notice when you gave us a topical issue matter which was addressing something else. But what I will do, I'll refer what you have to say to my officials in the NTA, and I'll give you a more comprehensive answer.